Hello, it's Greg from Microsoft Hates Greg. Today we're going to be taking a look at the unit conversion quick measures within Mushcookum. So the unit conversion quick measures are found all the way at the bottom, and we have a number of them here: area, density, distance, mass, temperature, velocity, volume. And they're pretty simple to use, but I want to show you how to use them, but also kind of behind the scenes what's going on. So again, to use them, you pick a column in your data model, and you pick like area unit conversion. And you can see here that we have an aggregation that we can pick. We have our what we want to convert from, what we want to convert to, and then we just generate our DAX. So if we're just going from miles to miles, and all of these are pretty much the same formula, pretty much. You have your var where you do your aggregation on that column. Your unit conversion, in this case, we're going from miles to miles, so it's just 1. And then you multiply your value by your unit conversion. Pretty simple. We switch this to be kilometers, we get our correct unit conversion there. We switch it to acres. So we get our 640 because there's 640 acres in a square mile. So again, pretty simple. All of these work that way. Density, distance, temperature. We can go from Celsius to Kelvin, for example. Pretty simple. They all work essentially the same. The temperature ones you'll see have a little bit different format because just the way temperature conversions work, right? So if I'm going from, I don't know, Celsius to Rankine, you get these different formulas that you need to have. There's no single conversion unit. A lot of the times it's math. You're multiplying and then adding some more, right? So that's the way that these work within Mushcookum. So let me show you a little bit behind of what's going on behind the scenes here. So here we have our supported measures, and you'll see at the top that the unit conversions quick measures are some of the first ones that I added. So we have here's our distance unit converter, our volume unit converter, etc. And they all have pretty much the same formula: the aggregation table column, your unit conversion factor. So as you can see, that's the same formula for down here for volume unit conversion. So why didn't I put these all in a single quick measure, right? Well, the reason is I wanted to make it a little bit intuitive for the end user. I didn't want the end user trying to convert feet to Celsius, for example, or feet to square miles or something like that. Obviously, when you're doing unit conversions, you got to be converting the same type of unit to a different type of that same kind of unit. So that's the reason for that. Now, the question then is, where does this conversion factor come in? Well, there's another JSON file that sits out there called unit conversions. And in here, you'll see, if I scroll all the way to the top, here I have inches to inches, and it's a conversion factor of 1, feet to feet, conversion factor 1. So I've got all my conversion factors of 1 kind of at the top whenever I was doing like distance or doing the same thing for volume, etc. But then as you scroll down here, you'll see that you get into things like where there's a little bit of some math involved. 1 divided by 12 divided by 3, 1 divided by 12 divided by 3 divided by 1760. Right, well, why is that going on? Well, because this made it easier for me, quite honestly, and I didn't have to worry about significant digits or looking up every single exact conversion factor. If I know that inches to feet is 1 divided by 12, and then convert that to yards is divided by 3, and then yards to miles is there's 1760 yards in a mile, then this made it a lot easier to enter these into the tool versus going out and looking up every single exact decimal conversion factor for each one of these. So that's why you'll see some of this math involved. So if in the tool, I pick my distance and I got my inches to miles and I generate that DAX, you'll see that this actually comes in, even though it's text, obviously in the JSON file, when it's actually put into the DAX formula, this becomes, division at that point. I don't really need to worry about division by 0 or anything like that because I'm entering these numbers. So I didn't use the divide function or anything like that. I just used straight up plain arithmetic, right? So that's kind of a little bit behind the scenes of what's going on here in the Gamma version of the tool, you'll definitely have the ability to kind of enter, like if you want to go from angstroms to light years or something, for some reason you need that conversion factor. You'll be able to enter that in the supported measures here. Again, why didn't I do that? Each of these as inches to miles as a separate quick measure down here, because again, I wanted to make it kind of easier and nicer interface for the end user. Instead of having to have a laundry list of 16,000 unit conversions, try to collapse them all into groups and then give the user a nicer interface to convert from one to the other. For if I want to go to miles to inches, for example. So to me, that's a nicer interface, but you'll definitely have the ability to enter in your own custom unit conversions in the Gamma version. A stretch goal for the Gamma version is that you'll actually be able to come into the unit conversions JSON file and enter your unit conversions here within the JSON. And then what you'll be able to do then is I'll try to bind those these groupings, if you will. I'll try to bind them to these drop-down controls, because right now these are basically hard-coded. But I'll try to bind these to some object within the code, and then make these essentially populated dynamically based upon what's sitting out here in the unit conversion JSON file. But again, that's just kind of a stretch goal. We'll see where that goes. And that's it for this episode of Microsoft Hates Greg. Like and subscribe. If you have any comments, leave them in the comments, and I'll take a look at them. If you have any suggestions, would love to hear feedback. Otherwise, have a good day.